So what what tonight is about is you're gonna see six storytellers are gonna take the stage, and they're gonna be telling true personal stories, which are stories that happened to them, and it's gonna be a lot of fun. Did everybody get a beverage before the show, like a wine or a beer? It's it's funny. It's funny how a beer tastes different, in different, circumstances. Like, I don't like Budweiser, but after mowing my lawn on a hot day, there's like nothing better, And like a pint of Guinness is never going to taste as good as the one you had in Ireland, When I was a kid, I kept my dad would tell me that the greatest beer on earth is my dad is Austrian, and the greatest beer on earth came from a small town, the neighboring town from where he grew up, called the beer is called Frosthanser beer. And I've been hearing about this beer my entire life. And when I finally grew up and became a man, debatable, I know, but my dad and I did these father-son trips back to Austria, and the best place to have a Frosthanser beer is at the foot of this mountain called the Drei Schwestern, the Three Sisters Mountain. And it's a full day hike, 9.5 hours, through the most beautiful countryside. At the top of the mountain, you are holding on to cables, inching your way across cliffs. And once you make it down to the bottom of the mountain, there's a little hutte, a little hut where you can have a cold Frosthanser beer in a glass. And I did this with my dad 3 times. We went on these trips together, and he was right. It was the best, So I started. I wanted to get creative for Christmas presents for my dad, so I would go on eBay and I would look up, Frosthanser, tchotchkes that I could get, key rings or anything I could find. I never found any luck doing it. I even learned how to brew beer, and I was, you can find clone recipes, but I couldn't find a clone recipe for Frosthanser beer, which is so weird because it's the greatest beer in the world, right? Why wouldn't I be able to find it? So, So 3 years ago, 6 months before the pandemic, my father passed away, and before the lockdown. And during lockdown, all I wanted to do was go back to Austria, hike die Drei Schwestern, and have a cold glass of Frosthanser beer at the end of the trail, And 2 months ago, the day after the last artichoke, my girlfriend and I flew to Austria, and I did that. I went to, thank you. The first thing we did is I hiked die Drei Schwestern, and 9.5 hours. I mean, it's just, you're dripping with sweat at the end of it. And we make it down to the hutte at the bottom of the hill, and I order a cold Frosthanser beer. And when the waiter comes, the beer is so delicious. And I tell the waiter, I said, my father, this was his favorite beer, and he passed away. And could I buy this glass, this Frosthanser glass? And he said, no. But I'll give you one as a gift. And he goes into the bar, and he comes out with a glass, a Frosthanser glass, a bottle of Frosthanser Special, or whatever the hell it was called, and a lanyard with a bottle opener, a Frosthanser bottle opener on it, and some Frosthanser sunglasses on the. And it was just like, and I'm getting weepy, because it was everything that I'd been looking for to give my father, when he was alive on eBay, and it was just so special, So the next day, we're at the next town over, and we are having schnitzel at a castle. If you've ever been to Austria, that's what you do every day. You go to castles and you eat schnitzel, And I'm looking at the menu, and I'm like, there's no Frosthanser beer. It's the brewery's down the road. Why isn't there Frosthanser beer on the menu? And and somebody at our table looked at me like really puzzled, and he said, because it's shit. Nobody drinks that stuff. I laughed so damn hard. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a wonderful evening for you.